Welcome to this guide on your personal reflections. It's interesting that the reflections are something that some students take to like a duck to water. It's just so easy for them to do. But for many others, it's very difficult to do. And so the aim of this video is to ensure you understand what it actually is in the process that we're wanting you to engage with, and how it actually is that we're assessing that process. If you understand these two things, then at least you can make sense of what you're being asked to do and the nature of the feedback that you're going to be receiving. Entrepreneurship's an interesting subject. We can learn quite a lot about it. We can get books, we can talk to other people. But at some point, if we really want to develop really strong understanding and even wisdom related to this field, we need to engage in it. So we typically talk about this challenge of learning about it, for it, and through it. In this unit, we're giving you an opportunity to do all three. So as that process is happening, as you're going off and doing things, we also want you over here as an individual and thinking about your feelings, thinking about your experiences. And so while we've got this group challenge which takes you in this direction, we want you to come back to us with your individual personal reflections, which are linked to these experiences. Some of you will find this process very easy because maybe you've grown up in a very entrepreneurial house. Maybe you've already started thinking about creating new value somewhere else. Others of you may be quite lost in this process. The key thing is that you follow the process. Don't go looking for the answer. Don't ask yourself, what's Colin or Angela looking for in this space? Just ask yourself, what's the process that I'm supposed to be following? And how deep do I need to go into that process? So let's consider the nature of the process. You're going to get a question, okay? So let me just put up here now the question that'll be the first one that you're going to be focused on for the semester. And then that question will change a couple of times, all right? But you're going to get this, what we call the primary question, right? Now when we think about that question, we don't want you just to say, well, here's my answer. We want you to think about that question in relation to the process that you've been involved in. That could be preparing for the pre-test. That could be engaging in the first workshop, discussing the nature of what happened in that first workshop, forming your group, starting the process of thinking about your entrepreneur's problem. All of those things can become part of what we call the course materials, right? All of that experience, right? So we have a group of 7 questions that we want you to work through. So let me just block myself out here now. And so there's the 7 questions that you need to address in order to answer the primary question, okay? So those questions are provided to you on Blackboard, and to answer fully this primary question, we need you to work your way methodically through each of the 7 questions, from the first through to the 7th. It's just a short paragraph for each one. And when you answer each of the questions, you're going to be answering them with reference to the primary question. So these 7 supporting questions enable you to be able to go deeper into your consideration of the primary question. Now if you look at the task activity advice that you've got on Blackboard, you'll see the rubric. And you'll see that in the rubric there are 3 separate areas. The first area, which deals with new discipline knowledge, captures the first 3 of these questions. Questions 1, 2, and 3. The next area of rubric captures questions 4, 5, and 6. And the last rubric is all about question 7, which is your ability to develop that metacognitive knowledge. Now, this is typically where people fall short of where they want to be. Everyone has an expectation. I want to do really well in this unit. I want to do well in this particular assessment task. So there's the depth that you actually go into when you're going through this process, right? So we're keen to see what you can do in that regard. But when you get to the end of it, I want you to step right back from what those first six paragraphs in relation to this primary question, and then ask yourself, what does this tell me about myself as a learner? My ability to engage with this process, to arrive at these outcomes in terms of what I'm suggesting as the knowledge. What does this tell me, right? And so make sure you don't leave it short when you're thinking about this particular question, okay? Because it's so important for you to make sure that you cover off on your thinking about your thinking. The feedback that you'll get is typically going to tell you how deep that you've gone. Against the rubric, for each one of those 7 questions, how deep did you go? Well, we want you to go as deep as you can, and you'll see that in the nature of the feedback that you get. So good luck, and as always, if you're unsure about the process, just come and have a chat. Always happy to have a chat. Good luck.